Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here's your detailed weather forecast update for Thursday the 31st of July 2025. How far out the year has absolutely flown. Upcoming today, we've got rainfall occurring across the New South Wales central coastline. We've got rainfall also on the forecast for Queensland central coast, and a heavy band of rainfall expected to come through for eastern Australia on Saturday afternoon. Showers and storms expected across southwest and western Australia. A whole lot to be talking about around Australia just in general weather-wise, so stay tuned to all the details on these storms, plus more coming up in today's weather forecast update. If you're brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Let's get stuck straight into things this morning over into the central coast of New South Wales. It's been a wet 24-hour period across the central coast of New South Wales. Falls between 30 to 60 millimetres have been widespread north of Narooma through the Sydney metro coastline, Wollongong, Gosford, Newcastle, you name it, right up towards Taree. And it's just from these showers that are coming through out of the southeast this morning. There is a weak low pressure system well offshore from Lord Howe Island and even further offshore from New South Wales and Queensland, way out here into the Tasman Sea, or the southern reaches of the Coral Sea, actually moving towards Norfolk Island this morning, and it's bringing up these southeasterly winds on its western side, and those southeasterly winds are coming into the New South Wales coastline, and that's what's giving way to these showers and heavy periods of rainfall. As you might be able to tell, the rainfall has eased off a little bit from yesterday, but the rainfall is going to continue piling on for the Newcastle coastline, then up through the Hunter region and even into the mid-north coast region throughout the remainder of this morning into this afternoon, and we're just expecting a general wet and miserable day across this part of New South Wales, even into the northeast of the state as well. Snowfall is expected today above 1400 metres, so around the Barrington Tops and even further inland out around Tamworth and Armidale. Temperatures will be cool enough for this snowfall here, in a similar fashion to how we're expecting the low pressure systems to behave this weekend, because they're going to be quite far north and they're going to be dragging in all of this cold air from the south and the southeast. That's going to give way to some very cool atmospheric conditions moving over New South Wales, which will bring the snow level down for a rainfall event that doesn't typically produce snow all the time, or events like this don't normally produce snow across New South Wales or even southeast Queensland, but that's what we're expecting this weekend. Let's dive into the forecast aspect of the video now, because there is heaps to be talking about here on the forecast. Throughout the remainder of today, we're expecting the showers and these storms to continue across the coast of New South Wales. They will ease off a little bit for the metro area, and especially down through the Illawarra coastline and then into the southeast of the state. And we're expecting showers to pick up a little bit later this morning and into early this afternoon around the southern reaches of the mid-north coast. These showers will then move north into the northeast coast of New South Wales, and a few showers expected north of Sydney throughout the remainder of tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Showers are then going to begin to develop across the northern half of New South Wales, especially into the northwest of the state, as a weak low pressure system then begins to build across the Queensland-New South Wales border. Now pay close attention here, because a complex low pressure system is about to develop on the forecast modelling. We're expecting this complex low pressure system to begin forming through early tomorrow morning. It's going to slowly get its act together through Friday and then into late Friday and into Saturday. So tomorrow night into Saturday morning, we're expecting this low pressure system to then begin properly developing offshore from the northeast coast of New South Wales. Now, this means that an enhancement in showers and storm activity across the New South Wales central coastline is expected from late tomorrow morning onwards, so we might get about a 12 to 24 hour dry period across the New South Wales coastline tonight and into very early tomorrow morning, but those showers will return again by tomorrow mid-morning and into early tomorrow afternoon. Showers are then going to pipe up properly for the northeast of New South Wales, tending to steady rainfall at times, and then with moisture coming down from the central parts of Queensland, which I'll talk about in a later part of this forecast update. As this low pressure system begins to develop, heavy rainfall is expected to materialise across the northeast coast of New South Wales, and that's going to slide down in the form of showers right through the New South Wales coastline down to the Victoria-New South Wales border or just above. This is going to result in a heavy band of rainfall moving through Saturday morning into areas around Coffs Harbour and Kempsey. Now, this is going to continue to intensify, this heavy band of rainfall, as this low pressure system begins to intensify, tending to snowfall above 1200 metres, and then through Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, a 6-hour period of heavy to locally intense rainfall is expected across the mid-north coast or parts of the Hunter region of New South Wales. This is a pretty serious aspect of the forecast, and I raised this as a concern on Facebook yesterday, but I'm really concerned about this rainfall now across saturated parts of New South Wales. We could be seeing some very serious rainfall quantities coming through Saturday night into Sunday morning, and it's something that hasn't been picked up by the official forecast just yet. I imagine that will change today or tomorrow, but by then it could just be a little bit too late for people to make adequate preparations. So this is what we expect from about midday onwards. Rainfall is really going to pick up across the northeast of New South Wales. In fact, it could be a little bit earlier than that, from about 10 a.m. onwards. Lismore, Grafton, Coffs Harbour, we're expecting brief periods of locally intense rainfall and then prolonged periods of moderate rainfall to occur across these parts of New South Wales. Then from about midday onwards, we're expecting heavy to locally intense rainfall to develop south of Coffs Harbour through Kempsey, creeping slowly further south through Taree and then Foster, later on into the afternoon and then into the evening, developing through the Hunter coastline around Newcastle, and then further north up towards Nelson Bay. And this rainfall then moving into the Barrington Tops and into some of the higher elevations outside of Armidale, Guyra and Tamworth as snowfall. The worst of the rainfall will come through between 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 8 o'clock in the evening, and locally heavy falls are expected through parts of the Barrington Tops and along the New South Wales coastline, especially into the mountainous areas along the coastline. I'm not writing off falls above 150 millimetres. This is definitely some severe weather coming through. Then later on Saturday into Sunday morning, a strong low pressure system, probably reminiscent of an east coast low, is expected to develop offshore from New South Wales. This would be a massive problem if it did decide to go for the state again through Sunday and provide a round 2 in terms of rainfall. And because of the proximity of this storm to the New South Wales coastline, showers will continue through Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. In fact, they will pick up a little bit through Sunday morning in the wake of the rainfall. But thankfully, this storm, and this is a miracle, gets steered away from Queensland and New South Wales, further out into the Tasman Sea and then on towards Norfolk Island and eventually New Zealand through Monday and Tuesday. If this went for New South Wales, especially after 100 or 150 millimetres coming through Saturday night, this would cause all sorts of serious flooding problems, not to mention wind problems as well. This would be a very, very powerful weather system, and you can see here on the forecast modelling sustained winds up around that 80 to 90 kilometre an hour mark, with maximum wind gusts here around the centre of the storm pushing closer towards 130 or even up towards 140 kilometres an hour. This would be a very, very strong storm indeed, and it's plausible the sea temperatures are very warm offshore from Queensland and New South Wales. This is a storm that would form at this time of the year, so a very powerful east coast low is definitely expected offshore from Queensland and New South Wales, but it's not likely to impact the state in a significant capacity, and the worst of the impacts will be coming through Saturday afternoon in terms of rainfall. The damaging wind threat really isn't there. However, Sunday afternoon we could be seeing some strong gusts across the northeast of the state and into southeast Queensland, but that pales in comparison to the severe weather impacts that this storm could bring if it came closer to New South Wales. So do not panic about this weather system here. It's going to look like an absolute monster, and it's bound to scare a few people on the radar and the satellite imagery through Saturday and Sunday, but it is going to remain far enough offshore from New South Wales and Queensland as to where significant problems aren't anticipated. Let's talk about this rainfall forecast now. It's a very important aspect of the forecast, especially through Saturday and Sunday, and I don't feel that the forecast models are doing this rainfall band justice because the sea temperatures are so warm still offshore from New South Wales. If we check them out right now, you can see temperatures pushing 21, 22 degrees Celsius, even warmer up around Coffs Harbour, Nambucca Heads and Kempsey, pushing up towards 23 degrees Celsius in places. They're not as warm as what they were a couple of months ago, but there's still plenty of energy out there for these storms to make the most of, and mark my words, this one will definitely be making the most of that. A solid band of rainfall. We're looking at a guaranteed 80 millimetres coming through around the Barrington Tops Saturday afternoon in pretty quick fashion as well, and then beyond that we could be talking about falls around that 100 to 150 millimetre mark as well. Isolated spot rainfall accumulations throughout Friday, Saturday and Sunday could be pushing closer towards 200 or 250 millimetres. Newcastle looking at about 100 millimetres of rainfall. Sydney on top of the 30 or 40 millimetres that's fallen already in the last 24 hours. A further 80 millimetres is possible there. Rainfall accumulations will then pick up again south of Wollongong down towards Bateman's Bay, including Ulladulla, Nowra and Jervis Bay. Rainfall accumulations there could be pushing up around the 125 millimetres on top of what has already fallen. That's between Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Heaps more showers still expected there, and some good falls also expected out around Tamworth, up to around 50 or 60 millimetres there, and some good falls also expected into the tablelands outside of Armidale and Guyra as well. And whatever rainfall falls above about 1200 or 1300 metres to this part of New South Wales will then occur as snowfall. The northeast of New South Wales and the southeast of Queensland, though comparatively dry, the rainfall is going to remain far enough offshore and coming in from an unfavourable angle, which means that rainfall accumulations north of Coffs Harbour shouldn't be anything more than about 25 millimetres, and then again north of Cape Byron, rainfall accumulations of a couple of drops or a couple of millimetres here and there is what we're expecting there, and that goes for southeast Queensland as well. And just moving on to the snowfall forecast really quick, we do have some good snowfall expected now outside of Guyra, Armidale, Walcher and Tamworth. In fact, on some of these higher elevations here into the tablelands, we could be talking about snowfall accumulations pushing close to 30 centimetres coming through on Saturday. Definitely talking about some heavy snowfall accumulations with that rain band coming through, and if that does materialise in the way that the forecast models are suggesting it will right now, we'll be talking about some serious snowfall accumulations onto some of these higher peaks in comparison to what these peaks do normally see from a snowfall event. They're not used to 30 centimetres of snow, and that that certainly is some pretty significant stuff. My best bet right now is between 8 to 15 centimetres across a wide swathe of the higher peaks and the tablelands above about 1,200 or 1,300 metres. For Gyro, we're probably going to be talking about 5 or 6 centimetres of snow. Glen Innes as well, outside of Glen Innes at least, probably around that 6 centimetre mark as well. And snowfall expected to make it up as far north as Wollongara and Stanthorpe into the granite belt, and the highest peaks on the granite belt could see a centimetre or two of snowfall, but we're not expecting snow in Queensland below an elevation of about 12 or 1,300 metres, so don't get your hopes up. And again, if you're going out to Stanthorpe, really make your predictions conservative, because we're not expecting snow to be significant out there, and it will be very much amazing if the snow does fall, given the forecast setup right now. It's possible, but it's not overly likely at this point in time. And disregard these little spots here, that's just the Eastern Weather calling for some interesting shenanigans on the snowfall forecast like it normally does. It is very rarely an accurate forecast model when talking about snowfall alone. That'll do it for the eastern states, apart from Queensland actually. I nearly forgot about you guys, but we're expecting a rainfall band to develop across the central coast of Queensland from tonight into early tomorrow morning. You can already start to see actually on the satellite imagery a few clouds beginning to build across the interior parts of the Cape York Peninsula, and then that's moving out to the coastal regions as well through the Cardwell Gap area and the Castlereagh coast. This is going to be the next rainfall event here. We're expecting some good rainfall to develop out of this, and you can see expected to develop over the next couple of hours. Proper rainfall moving through into this part of Queensland. Heavy rainfall developing later tonight into early tomorrow morning for locations south of Cairns along the coast around Townsville and then down towards Bowen and into the Whitsundays. Rainfall isn't expected to be heavy south of Mackay, and at this point it looks like Mackay is really going to be touch and go on to whether or not they receive rainfall. Anywhere north of Mackay looking likely to receive some rainfall, including out towards Proserpine and Hamilton Island, but Mackay and locations further south, it really is a 50-50. It's anyone's guess at this point in time, and I'd say Mackay looking at least 2 or 3 millimetres of rainfall, but it is possible they could see up towards 30 or 40 millimetres of rainfall early tomorrow morning as this rainfall band does develop. Rainfall will then begin to ease off into the early afternoon hours, clearing through the early evening hours, and then moving away from the Queensland coastline through Friday night into Saturday morning, and that will take all of the moisture with it and be back to cool, calm, dry and collected across central and northern parts of Queensland. Peak rainfall accumulations up to 50 millimetres are a possibility, especially between Townsville down towards Hamilton Island, including Proserpine. That's where the heaviest falls are expected to be, and then widespread falls between 30 to 50 millimetres expected north of Mackay up to about Cairns and pretty much anywhere in between along the coastline. It will be strictly coastal-based rainfall as well, so if you do live further inland, don't get your hopes up for anything significant on the rainfall side of things. We're not expecting anything too crazy in those locations. Rainfall also not expected further up on the Cape York Peninsula. A few showers also expected into western Queensland throughout the remainder of today. They could get a little bit heavy at times, especially for this time of the year, and 10 millimetres between Mount Isa down through Bullion and then down towards Bedore is a possibility throughout the remainder of today. Overall, a pretty turbulent picture across the north, especially for this time of the year, last day of July heading into August. We'd normally be expecting clear skies with not a cloud in sight, or not even a cloud on the forecast over the next 14 days across this part of Australia, and there is plenty of stuff to be talking about over in the tropics when we don't really want to be talking about weather for the tropics, not at least for another couple of months or so. Down into the southwest of Western Australia, strong cold front expected this weekend. Again, like I said in yesterday's forecast update, Boss's weather, fine in the week, cloudy and awful on the weekend. So we've got a strong cold front that's going to begin to develop over the southwest through late Friday night into early Saturday morning. The first showers coming through by around 5 or 6 o'clock Saturday morning for the southwest Capes, and a few storms expected with that, and then reaching the Perth metro area through later Saturday morning after about 8 or 9 o'clock, and then into Saturday early afternoon. We'll be expecting the showers to then move further out into the wheat belt, showers pushing further inland through the evening hours of Saturday and even making it out into the goldfields by later Saturday and into early Sunday morning in a significant capacity as well. We could be talking about falls between 5 to 15 millimetres out into the eastern parts of the wheat belt and even out into parts of the goldfields as well. Rainfall accumulations will be at their heaviest in the late morning hours and into the early afternoon hours of the Perth metro area. A few hours of dry weather expected through the south coast. There will still be a few showers here and there through Saturday afternoon, but all in all a little bit dry before the rainfall and the storms sweep up again from the south through early Sunday morning, and heaps of showers and thunderstorms expected to dominate the weather scene again on Sunday morning across the Perth metro area and the south coast in general. This will be that vigorous southerly air mass that's going to sweep in behind this main cold front here, so it's going to be a classic winter weather system. Big strong cold front coming through, drops heaps of rainfall, damaging winds, the whole 9 miles you would expect for this time of the year. A very typical quintessential winter weather front, and then behind it that vigorous southerly air mass sweeping up from the southwest and providing showers and widespread rainfall across the southwest of Western Australia Australia in a pretty big manner as well through Sunday morning. These showers are going to be very widespread, making it as far north as Geraldton and as far inland as pretty much every wheatbelt community is through Sunday morning and into Sunday afternoon and evening. These showers will then begin to slowly ease off through Sunday night and into early Monday morning, and clearing again for a nice, fine and sunny work week from Monday the 4th of August onwards. It's also going to be cold enough for the chance of snowfall once again along the Stirling Ranges. This will happen late Sunday afternoon into late Sunday night. The best chance of snowfall will be, of course, on the Stirling Ranges around Bluff Knoll, above about 900 metres or so. We could be seeing a few flurries here and there across Bluff Knoll late Sunday night if some of these showers do make it far enough inland, which it looks like the atmosphere is going to be favourable enough for them to do so, and the atmosphere will also be cold enough for these showers to make it far enough inland for that possibility to occur. Good rainfall is expected this weekend. This is just a look at rainfall accumulation Saturday and Sunday inclusive. We're looking at rainfall accumulations here along the southwest coast, up around that 80 to 90 millimetre mark between Augusta down to about Albany, and some good falls also expected from that main weather system coming through on Saturday morning, and then again from showers coming through Sunday morning across the Perth Hills as well, right down to around Collie and dwelling up. Rainfall accumulations could be approaching 50 or 60 millimetres as well. I'm expecting about 25 millimetres to come through from the preliminary cold front on Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon for the Perth metro area, and then a further 20 or 25 millimetres coming through from the showers and storms that will come in its wake on Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. Serious rainfall for this time of the year. It's certainly going to be a wet weekend, that's for sure, but it's quintessential winter's weather. I would actually be surprised if a severe weather warning got issued for the Perth metro area. Definitely one for the damaging wind threat can be expected across the southwest capes, and maybe one will be issued for the Perth metro area. We're definitely talking about some strong winds coming through Saturday morning. But this is very typical winter's weather. Nothing to be panicking about. This isn't an absurdly strong storm or anything like that. It's just something that we see 5 to 10 times a year across the southwest of Western Australia, and something that we've seen plenty of times already this calendar year. Very typical winter's weather. So again, absolutely no need to be panicking, and this is what we would expect for this time of the year. But yeah, definitely over the course of the next week, the weather scene getting us or keeping us on our toes as a tracker here nationwide. Heaps of stuff over in the east, heaps of stuff over in the southwest, and in between across South Australia, the Northern Territory, Victoria and Tasmania, a little bit calmer, a little bit more collected over the next couple of days. That's going to do it for me today. I do hope you found this video enjoyable or informative, and preferably both. And if you have, then please do consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The support lately has been much appreciated. Check out the Facebook page as well, nearing on 20,000 followers over there. So if you haven't followed it already, make sure you do. There's a link in the top of the description. But that'll do it for me today. I'll catch you on the next storm. Goodbye.